Welcome to the I Hate Critics movie review podcast. I'm professional film critic Sean Patrick. Hi, Jeff.
No, 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 no. Hi.
Find us on all the various different social medias and whatnots and so on. We update occasionally. Let's see. We've got plenty to talk about tonight, but I do want to mention that as part of the movies of the 80s stuff I've been doing, I finally watched an actual good movie in 1984 that I was really excited about. It's called Old Enough. And while that title is provocative, it's actually one of the rare movies that's about young women that isn't about sexualizing young women because it was actually directed by a young woman, a 23-year-old director, the daughter of the legendary director Joan Micklin Silver. Marissa Silver directed it, and I'd never heard of this movie before we watched it this week, and I was just absolutely blown away by it. And to have 1984 be such a tire fire. I mean, with Blame It on Rio and just the various different ways women have been exploited in this year, and Christopher Reeve being a homophobe. It was just so nice to be able to watch a movie that just was I had no idea existed and was actually out at that time because it didn't even seem possible to me, Jeff, that there were actual good movies
Well, Friday
anymore.
the 13th Part 4, the final chapter came out that year.
I stand by what I said. Uh,
So. Nightmare on Elm Street came out in 1984.
No, there are a couple of good ones. Last Starfighter is a good movie. Never Ending Story is a good movie. But I mean, in terms of the movies that I would stand by as I think this is one of the best movies of that year. I really didn't. I had no idea. Have you ever even seen? Have you heard of it, Old Enough?
No,
I'd never heard of it, and it was just sort of. I just sort of saw it there on the list we had made, and I was like, "What is this?" And then I watched it, and it's like, that's just fucking brilliant. And could be. It's also like it just could be that I'm looking for reports in the storm when it comes to 1984, but
huh.
it was truly just lovely to watch a movie that treated children like children and not like like that it isn't just some creep leering at them.
Hmm. Sounds interesting.
I highly recommend it. Of course, Marissa Silver had the good taste to get out of filmmaking after this. She made a couple of she actually directed the there's a Kevin Bacon movie in 1990, I think is her last one. He Said, She Said. And then she got out of it to go become a writer because she was tired of Hollywood trying to tell her what to make all the time. And good for her. Good for her for standing up for herself.
Yeah. Huh. Is it streaming anywhere?
Yes, you can actually watch it on Tubi,
Nice.
the same
I
place
love
where I watched
Tubi.
our classic this week.
Oh, God. Should we get that one out of the way?
We'll save that for the end, Jeff. That's where the classic goes.
Oh, oh,
The
oh.
classic.
Oh, God. I regret my decisions so much on this show sometimes.
I just
Anyway,
um coming out, of course, this weekend is the Mandalorian and Grogu. Have you heard anything? Are Star Wars fans buzzing at all?
there I just saw an ad for it on Facebook, and of course, the usual suspects. The, please don't be woke. And I said, define woke, you old bitch, and he didn't hasn't defined it yet. So I guess we'll see. I will say, okay, so Star Wars, every year, Disney Store releases a Pride droid. Some years it's trans color. Some years it's pride flag. Pride, sorry, pride flag colors. Oh my god, I can say that. You can't. Um, colors. It depends. This year it's a white R5 droid with pride colors, and every single year the bigots come out of the woodwork whenever like one of the collecting sites posts it, and they're like, oh, what's next? An S&M fetish droid, and that kind of shit. And I actually had to unfollow a Star Wars collectors page yesterday because I was going to get kicked off of Facebook altogether, and I need it for my other job. So, I mean, just don't be fucking garbage, people. Just stop being garbage.
Oh, that would be nice
So,
if people would just stop being garbage. That would be very nice, but
unfortunately, here
you
we are. Um, no,
know,
I
it's
haven't
funny,
heard.
Jeff. Go
Go ahead.
ahead. I
I was gonna
know
say I
what.
haven't heard a lot of it.
Ha!
Me first. I
Yeah.
have not heard a lot. I've heard one person who has seen the movie who said that it was a lot of fun. Um, one person who has seen the movie, he said yeah, it was pretty good, not great, but pretty good. I One of my part-time jobs is retail, and I have noticed they've already started marking down some of the Grogu toys 50% off at my place of work, so that doesn't not bode well.
Mm.
Um, but kids don't buy toys anymore. So what were you
Yeah.
gonna say?
Just that we did the on the 96 podcast, we were talking about I don't know how we got into talking about homophobia, but for some reason we got into that topic. It kind of rounds around into talking about people we don't like, which are homophobes, are right near the top of that list. And it occurred to it, we all three of us, MJ, Amy, and myself, had this revelation that all these people who think being gay is a choice, is it possible that is because they make the choice to not be gay every day?
Oh yeah, yeah. So there was actually somebody who you went to school with, who graduated with Amy, who he's no longer with us, but he would occasionally come to Des Moines when I lived there, and he used to hook up with a friend of mine who's also no longer with us, um, but was a super Christian who thought that being gay was a choice. And I straight up asked him one time, how many times are you going to choose not to be gay when you're back home, as opposed to when you come to Des Moines? Yeah. So, yeah, I honestly, whenever somebody says that it's a choice, I say, okay, how many times did you have sex with somebody of um, the same sex as you before you decided to be straight? That usually like stops them in their tracks because they don't quite know how to deal with the fact that people think that. So,
Yeah, it is very funny to just I don't know why we all came to that realization for the very first time, but it was quite humorous to think that every day these guys make a decision to not be gay.
mhm. Oh, 100%, 100%. Yeah, there's just I honestly think that most people who are homophobic are really dealing with some demons, um, and they think it's bad to be gay because their family tells them they can't be gay, and so they take that to heart and they act like they're not gay, and secretly craving the cock. Yeah, I'm saying cock because it's not, lesbians are not generally like that. Those the homophobic guys who are the gayest. So,
Oh yeah, that's why there are so many Republicans on Grinder.
mhm. Every time there's a big gathering of Republicans, they crash Grinder. So,
Every time.
yeah,
Guys, just be gay. Just be gay, and then you can give up being hateful.
just yeah, yeah, like just suck a little bit of dick, get it out of
We're
your
not
system.
we're not going to judge you. We want you. We want you to suck that dick. Go ahead.
I mean, I'm literally only judging the people who are homophobic or transphobic or racist. I'm not joking. I'm not judging homosexuals because I am
Hmm.
one. And, you know, it's just what you are. It's fine. So,
So back to the Mandalorian. Just kidding.
speaking of gay guys, hi, Pedro.
It's funny. It's funny to me that people would say something like, looking at something that stars Pedro Pascal, and I hope that's not woke. The man literally wears trans shirts like constantly, like supporting trans kids. Like
Yeah,
he's
my
done
sister
so
is trans.
much. Yeah, like the man is not going to be on your side. And if he heard you say this bullshit, he'd tell you to go fuck yourself.
Hmm. Yeah, I'm like, define woke. Just define it. Nobody can define it. It's just whatever they don't like is woke. So
Which makes no sense. It doesn't, nothing about that ideology makes any sense. What does it mean to be woke, man? Like, what, you like black people?
uh,
Well, yeah, that's not, I don't know if that's woke, but yeah, I do. I do like black people.
yeah, I don't I just don't understand why you have to be hateful when you can just be a person.
Yeah, it
So
makes no sense. It's an ideology that proceeds from anxiety and fear, and you must be in just anxious and fearful all the time. And I don't understand how you live that way.
yeah, I just, like, why be all those hateful, bigoted things when you could just be a good person?
And if you've ever been to a pride parade, it is so much fun, you guys. Why would you deny yourself that level of fun?
I'm gonna say, like, I don't like to go to Pride Parade unless I'm on a float or something,
Hmm.
because I just I have a thing with crowds.
Yeah, I'm
Um,
not a big crowd person myself.
I'm not a big crowd person. Like, it took a lot for me to go see Madonna last year, or the year before. Um, just it just took a lot to do to be in a big crowd like that. Um, and I didn't used to be that way. I used to, like, oh yeah, I like love pride parades and whatever, but yeah. So,
But generally, I mean, they just are fun.
oh
Just
yeah,
just
yeah,
observe. Everyone is having a very good time, and I don't understand. I don't understand why that makes anybody mad.
because they don't know how to be happy. They don't
Yeah.
know how, like, they don't like to be inclusive because they read it in their 2,000-year-old book or whatever. And look, I am an atheist, but I don't. I want you to be able to worship whatever you want to worship, as long as you leave me out of it and stop legislating from the pulpit my rights or other people's rights. So,
You just hit on something that I think is at the heart of their belief system, and that is that it is a belief system that is based in misery, and that
mhm,
like, if I'm miserable, everybody should be miserable.
yeah, yeah,
Morons.
I mean, just leave me out of it, but I'm going to be like, hey, I 100% support your right to be whatever religion you want to be. Just leave me out of it.
Yeah.
So, and being a Christian or a Muslim or whatever does not mean you are homophobic. But it's like almost every person who I know that is homophobic is religious.
Weird how
Um,
that works.
yeah, and I what gets me is like the gay people that are transphobic. I'm just like, why? Well, it's the we got ours rationale. Pull the ladder up behind you kind of thing, that a
The
lot
pick me
of,
gays.
yeah, you know they're
I'm the
gonna
gay
pick,
person that people like.
yeah, they're gonna pick you for the trains just as much as they're gonna pick me. So,
Yeah, but I might be able to be a guard at Auschwitz as opposed to the one who gets killed right away.
right, you're still gonna get killed eventually, so you might as well be on the right side. So, yeah, it's really stupid, and I don't understand it. I don't understand why, um you know people think being quote unquote woke is a bad thing. It just means that you are aware of, and your eyes are open to the different things that happen to marginalized communities. It doesn't mean, that you're out there, as they love to say in 2020, burning down people's businesses. And so, yeah.
Although if you're homophobic or racist, your business should be burned down. Just saying. Just saying. Not that I don't support any kind of crime, but at the same time, if you're a homophobe or a racist and you lose your business, I'm not going to cry for you.
No.
Not going to do it.
I'm gonna give you the same grace that you would give me.
Yeah.
Oh,
All right. I've put it off long enough. Let's talk about the worst movie of 2020. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
I was like, I liked both of the movies this week, so
Let's talk about Kareem Barker's Obsession. The movie is getting all sorts of big buzz. It grossed over $17 million at the box office over the weekend, and just got some of the best reviews I think I've seen of any movie in quite some time. The film stars Michael Johnston as Bear. He's a shy, nerdy kid who's got a crush on this girl that he's been friends with for a long time, named Nikki, played by Inde Navarette. He keeps intending to try and tell her how he feels and get her to see if maybe she has feelings for him, but he just can't seem to bring himself to do it. He obtains this thing at a store called a One Wish Willow, and it's this kind of urban legend item that people say you can make a wish on. Nobody really believes that it'll actually happen, generally speaking. But he's going to give it to her, but then he didn't after he failed to ask her out, and then he decided to just use this myself. And he asked for his wish to be that she loved him more than anyone else in the world, and his wish seemingly comes true. The movie kind of starts off trying to play it kind of both ways, like that the night that he did it, she was a little bit high and she was acting a little bit strange, and but it quickly becomes very clear that she did in fact that his wish did in fact come true, and but in doing so, in much like in the classic monkey's paw scenario, it's happened in the worst way possible because she becomes not merely in love with him but obsessed with him. She doesn't want to be out of his sight. She can't be anywhere without him, and when she is, bad things happen. If she thinks for a second that he doesn't love her as much as she loves him, then again more bad things are going to happen. It's uh it's quite something. I think this movie is incredible. I also find it to be the single most miserable experience of a movie I've had in a long time. I was so bummed out after I watched this movie that's kind of what dominated my review of it, is just that it left me so bummed out. It's so effective that I don't know, man. It's brilliant. The performances are incredible. Like so much about it is just so good. But you had mentioned kind of in our conversation online about this being kind of a similar thing to you reacted to it the way I reacted to the substance, which is like that's horrifying and I never want to see it again, but it's fucking brilliant. Kind of the same thing, but I was also kind of mesmerized by the substance, and I wasn't as mesmerized by this movie. I never want to watch The Substance again, but at the same time, I could watch The Substance again. I never want to see this again because this was just unending misery for me. And part of that, I'll confess, I was Bear years ago when I was around his age. I was a lot like him. I couldn't really express myself with women very well, and uh, I was in multiple different sort of male female friendships where the dynamic was just me not able to tell them how I felt, or and or kind of just assuming that they didn't like me and just kind of going with it for whatever reason. And so part of that, I guess, hits close to home, but at the same time, the oppressive misery of this movie, what it reaches by the end, I just couldn't take it at a certain point, and I think I kind of checked out just a little bit.
this is quite possibly the best movie of the year for me.
Hmm.
Um, like you said, when I left, I was just I did not know how to process this movie. I have since talked to a couple of friends who have seen it, and I would actually like to see it again just to see, knowing what happens, um, to see how I react to it.
Hmm.
I mean, okay, so like a couple things about it. Bear is your typical nice guy,
Hmm.
TM in quotation marks. Um, you're rooting for him to get with Nikki, and then when he does via this wish, you're just so scared for him. But that being said, this is like he is the typical nice guy who turns around and he is essentially raping this girl.
Hmm.
He is the villain of the story. Um, and he is a catalyst for every bad thing that happens because he is too fucking stupid and cowardly to just express how he feels. And I feel like this is a thing with a lot of men, especially incel men, who, if you would just make yourself vulnerable for like 5 minutes of your life, you could have everything you want. Because if he said to her, "Hey, I have a thing for you," and she was like, "Oh, I don't think of you that way, but you should go talk to Julie," this movie would be like 20 minutes long. It would be an episode of, The Twilight Zone or something. Um, but because he is a man who is unable to express himself and listens to his fucking moron of a friend instead of the woman who is talking to at the very beginning of the movie, who says, "Oh yeah, that's great. You should talk to her and just say what's on your mind." And he's like, "No, don't do that. Call her this derogatory name that we called her in high school." That's the kind of shit that turns him into this, more or less rapist because he makes this wish and he takes her against her own will. And that is so disturbing and like deeply dark for me. Um, I think that's where my feelings of, how do I even process this movie came from, because you're rooting for him and you don't want all the bad stuff to happen to him, but he's such a passive, like, he's a spectator in his own life. And take it for like I have gone out and grabbed stuff that I wanted without being rapey like he is, and just went and kind of did stuff that I wanted to do. And you kind of like, there's a proverb that I heard a long time ago, and it's leap and the net will appear. All he had to do was take this leap. I like you, do you like me? Instead of going through all this rigmarole with this Willow, and stop listening. Yeah, that's my lesson, is stop listening to your negative friends who think they know better than you. If you feel something, do it. And you never know what'll happen.
Hmm.
Don't like get so in your head that you're second guessing yourself and then go out and buy a magical amulet and that'll fix everything. Clearly it doesn't.
So I didn't
um
get the impression that he thought it would work. I never got the impression that he actually believed the magic was real. When he before he did it. After he did it,
yeah
obviously the evidence becomes relatively clear, but I never got the impression that he was breaking it uh, specifically because he thought it would work. But I also this is interesting because I've been hearing this from people who really like this movie, and again, I find it to be technically acting wise, everything about it overall is just really really great. Like there's everything about it is really really great, except how I felt miserable at the end, and I can't recommend that feeling to anyone. But I wasn't really actually rooting for Bear. Everybody else keeps talking about how they were rooting for him, and I wasn't. I didn't care what this guy wanted. I was kind of, and it's probably just me kind of seeing myself in him and saying, thinking how pathetic that is.
yeah
Um, that's certainly, but No, I didn't feel like he was such a he was just such a I thought he was just such a blind character, like
Hmm.
just such a selfish, self-involved character.
Well, I feel like when I say you're
And I
rooting
didn't
for him, he is the point of view character. And I
sure.
feel like inherently, when you're watching a movie, the point of view character is who you're supposed to identify with and root for in a, in a whatever way. And I feel that's what I mean by it. I don't mean that, you're hoping that she'll love him and he'll, go ahead and love her like in this position. But no, that's all. I don't mean that, you're rooting for him to like win because he's never going to win.
I'm just saying I
So,
didn't really feel much in terms of good feelings towards him.
mhm.
I didn't find him to be that good a guy from the very start of the movie. I liked what he said to the waitress at the start of the movie, but I think we're also got to remember that his friend was sleeping with Nikki behind
Yeah.
his back, and he didn't know that. And so I think part of Cooper Tomlinson's character was trying to undermine him and stop him from, telling Nikki how he felt because he was kind of worried that Nikki might like Bear, and thus he would lose, what he has with her.
Yeah, see, I just assumed that he thought that it's never going to work anyway. I That's why I was like, just Nikki obviously likes him better than Bear, so
Yeah,
I don't
but you
know.
never. I mean, people like that character. I thought Cooper Tomlinson did a great job of playing a character who's got much more bravado than he does actual. He's got as much bravado as to match his anxieties and fears because he's a guy who is deeply fearful of not getting the things that he wants, and I thought he played that vulnerability pretty well. Indian Navarette is incredible and probably should get an Oscar nomination. I think that's a
Mhm.
reasonable thing. I, I, I think there's so many great things about this. I think I stopped like really staying invested in this movie after what happened to Sarah. Megan Lawless is so wonderful in
Uh-huh.
this movie, and that scene with her, it again, it's filled with tension. It's filled with tension, and you kind of know that that's where the scene has to go. But I was like, I liked her so much that it really I appreciate taking the big swing and the big risk of doing that to her character, but it truly did make me go fuck this. Kind of like I don't know. It's kind of like when just if my favorite character in a movie gets done that way, it doesn't really matter what the movie is. I'm like, nah, no.
Biggest jump
I,
scare of the year, though.
really?
Oh yeah. I mean, I
I
knew
mean,
something
you
was going
didn't.
to happen, but
Yeah.
the fact that she runs up so quickly and busts through the window, that was the entire theater. I mean, if my theater was full.
Hmm.
The entire theater kind of just jumped back. Yeah,
Yeah, because I'm not I just I felt like that's absolutely the only way this scene can go is that she's going to be there and this is going to turn very 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 bad. It turned out worse than what I expected, but I knew that was coming.
I didn't know that particular was going to happen at that point. I thought that, obviously, the two friends are going to have to die um, in order to, up the stakes a little bit. But I did not expect it to happen at that moment. I thought that it would have been where he thinks that, there's a glimmer of hope because he realizes that she likes him and maybe if I get out of this, we can have something. And then he would come home and find her dead or something like that. But um, the the hiding of the body and everything, that's really where I he lost me completely.
Hmm.
Um, as any sort of having any sort of hope that he would get out of it because that was a choice. The breaking of the willow and the consequences of that wasn't really a conscious choice. He just, he did this, and then instead of being proactive and trying to get out of it, he kept making these choices along the way. And this was the choice that kind of took me from, I hope he can like figure out a loophole or something and make amends, to okay, this he's irredeemable and he has to die. Um, that's kind of where I was at the end of it.
Yeah,
I do think,
once everybody became just completely irredeemable, it just also is another thing that just kind of hammered home the overall misery of this movie for me. To the
you
point where, like I said, I think it's technically brilliant. I don't recommend it. I don't recommend people go see it, uh, unless you enjoy technically brilliant films that make you just feel empty inside at the end and depressed. If you enjoy being depressed by a movie, this is the movie for you. this is this is the biggest bummer of the year.
mm, I thought it was actually a very effective horror movie,
Mhm.
and horror in the true sense that not like, oh, it's just a slasher movie or a killer doll movie or whatever. It truly horror. Like everybody, all the way around, there's horror. Um, and for me, I don't, you know me, I watch horror movies like by default. I have a harder time picking 10 comedies that I love. I could rattle off 10 horror movies that I love right now, but picking comedies, I'm so much more, like less well versed. Um, so I thought this was the first truly horrific movie that I have seen in a long, long, long time. Even more than the substance.
I love Nightmare on Elm Street, and by the end, you've got Nancy who survives the whole thing and comes out of it, and it's actually kind of hopeful at the end.
Mhm.
I know then we end that dream sequence, which you can argue is like maybe they never escaped it and whatever, but the point was is that she seemed to have agency and hope. At the end of this movie, there's no hope.
Well,
This
that's what
is
makes it so horrific,
all
though.
this is all over and it's done with and everything is awful.
But that's what makes it so horrific for me. It's like The Mist, which we'll do as a
No,
classic.
I hate that movie too.
Yeah, see, that's the difference between I think you and me. Like I love a down ending.
I didn't like any of that movie though, and I mean not even with the ending. I just didn't like any part of that film because I don't find is it Aaron Eckhart? Is that who that is?
No, it was um
His twin Thomas Jane.
Thomas Jane, yeah.
The other Aaron Eckhart, Thomas Jane. Uh, I did not like his performance. I find him to be a big slab of beef, and don't particularly I don't find him particularly interesting on screen.
Yeah, but it had Marcia Gay Harden, and she was so good. But like I loved the everybody hates the ending of that movie, and I think it's great because it's like, what is the most horrific thing that could happen? And it's to kill everybody on screen, and then it's like, oh, hey, guess what? We if we waited 2 minutes longer, I mean, I because we don't get a lot of down endings. Everything, all the horror movies out there have to be hopeful and whatever. So I like that as a kind of a counterpoint to some of the Nightmare on Elm Streets or that kind of movie where oh, there's a survivor, and yeah, there's a survivor here, but she is deeply traumatized. So
No, that like the substance again. I go back to that. It's like not a hopeful ending at that one.
yeah,
Everybody's dead at the end of that. There's not a really good character in that entire movie though, and I think it's just so audacious and artistic that I don't mind as much the trauma that movie inflicted upon me because I didn't leave this as I left the substance just kind of a different person and just kind of changed and definitely traumatized, but also like that was like the one of the most incredible artistic experiences of my life. And I didn't find this to be nearly as artistic. Technically brilliant, incredibly well acted, incredibly like staged, lots of really good ideas, but it's so oppressively miserable to me that I'm just not there with it.
that's fine. I mean, you can be wrong once in a while. like this time. I recommend it. I think if you're a big horror fan, this is something that is really refreshing and new in that it it subverts your expectations. Um, it's you think there's going to be somehow there's going to be a happy ending, and then you get to the point where he's hiding the body, and you're like, okay, this there's no way this can end well for him. So, but yeah, I recommend it. Sean doesn't. Sean's around.
Hey, if you enjoy being miserable, this is the movie for you. Um, Similarly, Is God Is. No, Is God Is a terrific movie with from director Alishea Harris, who's just, I mean, just what a voice! Just right out of the gate with her, she's just such a man. The voice here is so powerful. Um, it's a story of two sisters, each of whom uh, was burned in childhood when their father tried to kill their mother. They One of them got it worse than the other one because they tried so hard to try and save their mom after she'd been lit on fire. Vivica A. Fox is the mom, and they call her God because she gave birth to him. That's the thought process there. Um, what an amazing film! From you just the energy, the vitality, the life of this movie right off the bat, just leaps off the screen. These two characters uh, are just so astonishing to watch. You really can't take your eyes off of them. They have they're two really competing energies going on. Mallory Johnson and Kari Young. Kari Young is Racine, and Mallory Johnson is Anaya, and their energies are just so fascinating because they have such a depth of love for each other and such a deep seated hatred for everyone who looks at them wrong, which I can
Yeah,
totally understand where they're coming from on that. There's definitely a very good reason for that. When they go to see their mom, who is on her deathbed, Vivica A. Fox, and she says, "It's time for you to kill your daddy." That's Sterling K. Brown, who is in the cast. He's just known as the Monster, which is such a great name. That's such a great way to look at it. He is a monster, absolutely, no question. No notes on that. Um, and yeah, she says, I need you for my dying wish. You need to go kill him. And one of them, Alicia Anaya, is not into that idea, but Racine is like, I'm perfectly prepared to go kill them. Go kill a motherfucker. Carrie Young is just so incredible. Not that they both are, but I mean, like her energy and her commitment to the bit. Once they decide that shit's got to go the way it's got to go,
yeah,
I was really on board with her, and I found this movie just endlessly fascinating and inventive. Uh, this one definitely had all the trappings of the unexpected that I was hoping for. I didn't really see any of the twists in this one coming because I felt like they kept painting themselves into these very unique corners, and I'm like, how do they get out of this? How do they? Then they did, and I was like, wow,
hmm
that's really cool. So I love this movie. Not that I do, again, I think Obsession is wonderful in many many ways. I was just so unhappy by the end. This movie doesn't have a happy ending, but I felt a little bit better, just more a
it
little
has
bit
a
more
hopeful ending.
kind of. I
Not
mean, at
happy,
least
not happy, but kind of hopeful.
kind of. There's at least a ray of hope in there, I guess. But certainly not happy. I thought this movie was just so incredibly well accomplished.
Yeah, I did too. I really, really like this. I it I kind of described it to myself as remember when Quentin Tarantino was interesting and
Mm.
good and knew how to make a good revenge movie. Um, that's what this reminded me of, and not in the style or anything, but it was that revenge without a bunch of revisionist history in it, and without the Tarantino of it all.
Hmm.
But that grit, that kind of making a making a feature that you're putting your stamp on something. The way everybody
Definitely.
talked about, people had seen Reservoir Dogs, but Pulp Fiction was that for him, and how uh, Alishea Harris is just she is doing something original, but with a with a an old fashioned kind of plot. This is like some of the old spaghetti westerns in that, I'm going to go and exact my revenge. And, a lot of the old black exploitation stuff is like that too. And I loved that she, she put her own spin on it. And each of these girls who are playing twins in the movie, who are obviously fraternal twins, um, they just feel so real. Like each one of them feels so real, and that goes for the writing and the performances both, not just one or the other.
Hmm.
Um, I felt like I was watching something really special happen, and that was like, three people really coming into their kind of stardom
Hmm.
and getting it right the first time, as opposed to, having to do a movie that's, oh, it's okay, it's good, and then the next one is the great one. Like I felt that way about Reservoir Dogs versus Pulp Fiction. Pulp Fiction was the masterpiece, even though now I can watch Reservoir Dogs and feel that way about it. But she is just out of the gate with this great, like almost perfect movie, um, where you don't expect you you have to learn to expect the unexpected, because that's what happens, and they can't you can't you can't really look at it and go, oh, well, this is what's going to happen. It's not boilerplate, it's not cookie cutter. It is, we are going to go where the story takes us, not where the story beats that we are given by the studio are going to take us. And that is like my favorite thing about this movie, is that it just subverts expectations, all the way through, even to the end. And if one of the sisters would have to sacrifice herself, you wouldn't expect it to be who does. You wouldn't expect, um, the mom to just not show up again. Like, you, there's just so many things that I loved about it. And as much as I love Obsession, I love this just as much.
Hmm.
And this is like, this so far is in my top five, along with Mother Mary and Obsession. Uh, I mean, I don't know where it's all going to shake out, but I really see this one being my top 10 at the end of the year.
This is like this your Tarantino comparison is so great because the much like what he did with Pulp Fiction, this feels like a movie that speaks its own language as opposed to any other language you've ever heard before.
Mhm.
It feels like a brand new song, a brand new way to speak in a movie. She has her own rhythm, her own voice that is just so palpable, so easy to pick up the rhythm of, and yet so different than every other rhythm for some reason. Um, it's such a unique lens with which to make a movie, and she just absolutely crushes it. Just the casting is perfect. Sterling K. Brown. I mean, just my God. Michael T. Williamson, like coming in from like a completely different movie, like
Mhm.
the little choices here and there. The Eric Alexander's brief performance, like there's just all these little notes that are getting played. Janelle Monáe's character having you think, okay, there, this is an ally, maybe. Nope, hold on, pull
So
back.
maybe about 30 seconds until.
It's like it's got just so many different ideas and rhythms and brilliant looking movie, incredibly well edited, incredibly well put together in every way. Yeah, this is, I mean, and Mother Mary still kind of lapping the field for me, but this one's definitely up there.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's Mother Mary is still my favorite of the year. Um, and I think Obsession is just right on the haunches of that. I
Fitting
just
because much like Mother Mary, this movie made no money over the weekend. So
oh God. I went Thursday night and I had a
Mhm.
screening that was probably about 25% full, and everybody enjoyed it. Like I talked to somebody that I kind of knew from an old job after, and we were talking about it, and somebody else came up and was like, "Oh yeah, that was so good. That was so good." Um, and I everybody who has seen it that I've talked to has loved it. Um, but yeah, Obsession took the box office, I'm assuming.
No, actually, Michael moved back to the top of the box office,
Oh,
followed by The
really?
Devil Wears Prada at number
Oh,
two and Obsession at number three.
well,
People still want to go see Michael Jackson again and again and again. Apparently,
mhm.
is got is almost beats the other new movie of the weekend, In the Gray, which has Jake Gyllenhaal and Henry Cavill, and managed to come in ninth with just nearly $3 million.
Oh, wow.
It was in more
Uh,
theaters. It was in more theaters than this movie though, and this movie almost beat it.
I did not get a chance to see that one, and
Hmm.
I read a little bit about it today after I got home from work and errands and stuff, and I was like, I kind of wish I'd seen it. I may still see it. But I don't know if I'll wait till streaming, then I'll talk about it then. But
Maybe.
yeah, I again, it's one of those movies that just got dumped. That I did we did like we talked about last week. We didn't know it was coming, so I knew Is God Is because I saw the trailer a few times. I saw the Obsession trailer a few times. So
And you know what? I mean, now based on this, I think maybe In the Gray is probably incredible. We should go see it because if it bombed at the box office, it must be brilliant.
I mean, you could be right. I love that they play a married gay couple. So speaking of gay stuff,
Every week on the 96 podcast, we always look for our window into gay.
well,
What will be our window
I
in the gay this week?
I am the window into the gay on this one. So
Yeah, wonderful film. Absolutely.
yeah,
Go see As God Is. You're not gonna leave that one just completely kind of contemplating your own place in the universe.
yeah, yeah, that's true.
You might though after you watch Graduation Day.
Oh,
Jeff, what
Jeff,
possessed
Jeff,
you?
Jeff, Jeff. Because I had to go to my niece's graduation this weekend, and everybody's graduating this time of year. So it is one that I've owned for about almost 10 years that I've never actually sat all the way through. So I thought, well, you know what? I guess what better time to do it than graduation season? And I'm sorry.
Well, tell us about our classic Graduation Day.
Um, well, this woman comes back to her hometown after her sister dies during a track meet, and then people start dying. Is she the killer? Is Christopher George the killer? Is the creepy boyfriend the killer? Yes, he is. Um, although he does everything he can to put suspicion onto Christopher George. This movie is absolutely unwatchable. If you are a big Wheel of Fortune fan, hey, Vanna White is in an early role.
Hmm.
Um, that is one of the only, like, literally one of the only redeeming qualities about it is getting to see her. Um, it is just, it's so stupid. It's just there's a few good effects and there's a couple good trivia things about it that, but the acting is terrible. The kills are not very interesting. Um, there's a couple. They're not very well executed. Pardon the pun. Um, there, there is the funny one where the guy puts a sword through a football and throws it at the guy. and it pierces his chest. Um, yeah, there's a one decent decapitation, and I gotta talk about this for a second. So Linnea Quigley, who is from Davenport, Iowa, where we are currently at, um, she is in this movie, and she gets killed in this movie, except she doesn't actually get killed in this movie.
Hmm.
Have you heard about this?
No,
So the actress who was supposed to play her part with Billy Huffsey, I don't know if you remember Billy Huffsey from the 80s.
kind of. The name sounds familiar.
He was a big teen idol, and I don't even remember.
Was he on
He was
Fame?
in Fame, yeah. Um, and I think he did Solid Gold too. I think he was like one of the co-hosts of that. Totally hot guy. It was a big heartthrob. He's in this movie with Linnea Quigley, and they both get killed. Well, originally, Linnea Quigley was not cast in this. There was another actress, and they went ahead and they cast this. They cast the other actress, and then they did the life cast for her decapitation. Because everybody gets decapitated in this movie or lanced with a football. Um, but the other actress had her life cast taken for the decapitation, but they didn't like her acting, so they fired her and they hired Linnea Quigley because Linnea Quigley said yes, I will do nudity. The other woman said no, I won't, and she wasn't a good enough actor, I guess, to um, make it worth it to not show her tits. Um, so Linnea Quigley comes in, she takes her top off, she does all the part. Then at the end, when you see her decapitated head after it's the Find Your Dead Friends part of the movie, Linnea Quigley's head is not there. It's the old actress's head in place of Linnea Quigley's body. It's so funny. Um, that is one of the only redeeming qualities about this, and I found that
Mhm.
out as I was watching it because I was so bored. I started just reading the IMDb page. Um, yeah, I'm so sorry. I apologize. Um, it's just, yeah, everything about it is bad. You kind of hope that everybody's gonna die. I mean, this is 1981, and like the characters, Linnea Quigley plays somebody named Dolores, and then Vanna White plays somebody named Doris. There's a
Interesting choice.
Sally, and there's a Sally, and an Elaine, and a Blondie, and
Blondie
it's
was
like,
so confusing, like because I thought people were insulting her, and then
mhm.
it took me forever to realize that was her name.
Yeah, yeah. I was like, wait a minute. Um,
They, they say her name so dismissively the whole movie.
yeah, what are you
Like,
looking at,
all right, get
Blondie?
in here, Blondie.
Oh, yeah. So
This
I
movie,
just,
this movie has no main character. That's the thing. Is
yeah,
like there are characters who appear like they're supposed to be the main character, but there isn't a main character. The movie doesn't take any single perspective aside from the killer's perspective.
mhm,
He loves doing the director loves doing that thing where the camera becomes the killer and you're put in the place of the killer, but he does it with zero perspective. He does it with
yeah,
zero effect. Like, are we supposed to identify with the killer? Are we supposed to be what are we supposed to feel here?
hmm,
I just thought it was cool. The camera was like the killer.
yeah,
It's like you got to have a point when you're doing that, sir. And then you need to have a perspective when you're doing that. Patrick Mackenzie's character would seemingly be the main character, but then she just disappears, and she doesn't have any motivation for anything that she does.
yeah.
I she's not even there for her sister's funeral. I guess she's there to pick up a trophy or maybe speak to the graduating class on her late sister's behalf, but that's really none of that is really laid out very well.
Yeah,
Um yeah, this like I said, I've never seen a movie quite like this that had no main character whatsoever.
yeah. And there's no, like, you want the main character because you want you need a point of view character, and not literally just the point of view. So, yeah, I'm so sorry.
There
Um,
is one more weird thing, one more weird connection for this movie is that one of the members of the Loud family is in this movie. Do you know the Loud family
oh yeah, yeah,
from the from the very first American reality show, The American Family. An American
Hmm.
Family on PBS in the early 1970s. The Loud family were the first people to essentially spend their lives on camera. And they went on to have several members of their family became very, very notable. Mostly Lance, their gay
Yeah.
son, who is forced to do this whole big thing about being a young gay man and being the young gay man on television. Had to be such a mind fuck. But his brother Grant plays the kid who sings with the guitar in the movie.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I know. One of those weird little things. Why is he here? Why does he sing an entire song? Because he's Grant Loud. Oh, okay.
And the best part about this movie is the new wave band who sings over some. And that's not necessarily a compliment. I'm just saying that's the best thing about it is that they're singing over some of the murders.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't understand. Oh, I just don't understand why this was one of the slasher ones. It's just it's they were literally making anything with a holiday into a movie, a horror movie in
yeah.
the 80s. And this is no no exception.
This would have been far better as a funny trailer in the middle of that Tarantino Robert Rodriguez movie than it does an actual movie.
Yeah, you're right, right. But then they would have eventually made it like they did Thanksgiving,
Thanksgiving Day.
which was so much better than this.
When is the Eli Roth remake of Graduation Day coming? Any idea?
I don't know, but not a huge fan of him as a person, but I would probably watch that movie if he did it. So mm, just
Only
so bad.
once.
Would probably, not would, but would probably.
New in
Um,
theaters this weekend, we'll have, of course, The Mandalorian and Grogu is playing starting on Thursday. It's the one of several new movies out this weekend. A new horror film called Passenger is out this weekend, and Boots Riley is back in theaters this weekend with his new movie I Love Boosters, which has an incredible trailer, and I'm very excited to get a look at that movie.
yeah, I saw that was playing the Last Picture House, and I'm just like, oh, I won a gift card. That I just remembered that I had. So yeah. Did you see that they lowered the price on the Grogu popcorn bucket?
No, really?
Well, because Josh at our local theater, he said that they have probably 300 or 400 of them upstairs. So they brought the price down, but they didn't. They brought it down like $4. I'm like, they're gonna sit there until I can afford one. Uh,
Yeah. As much as I love popcorn buckets, I did get the tin. I got the Mandalorian and Grogu tin, but not I've not sprung for the for the other one.
well, I don't think you're gonna have any problem getting one from the looks of it, but we'll see, maybe. Um, yeah, Passenger looks good. That was a good trailer. Um,
I'm kind of sick of that trailer. I mean, I think it's all right, but I've seen it so many times that I'm just like, can we get to the movie now?
well, I've only seen it I think twice, but because I
Hmm.
have stopped going early to movies because I'm terrible with time right now. Uh, not by choice. I think I did see a trailer um, in front of Obsession, and it's got is, but like I don't sit through all the trailers just because I can't seem to. I live 5 minutes away from the movie theater, so it's like, I've got plenty of time. So
Yeah, I don't mind. I kind of like seeing trailers unless they're going to play the same ones all the time, and this Passenger one has been the one that they play all the time.
oh, okay. See, I like I said, I haven't seen it. I've seen it maybe twice. Um, but I guess
Strong
the
Jeepers Creepers vibes, which also just like
mhm.
whatever.
God, you know what? I love that movie, but I can't stand it because of the whole Victor Salva
Hmm.
shit. I
Yeah,
just, yeah, it's a great idea and a great. The second one is it's so obvious that he's a pedo. Um, so
They got a classic to go with any of these, or we're gonna watch Star Wars?
I was kind of thinking about that, and I saw some of the pictures from I Love Boosters, and it made me think of Party Monster. Have you seen that movie?
With Macaulay Culkin?
Yeah.
It's been years.
Well, let's do that.
All right.
Just because it's colorful costumes like I Love Boosters. Um, I'm not above a little like, just going purely by visuals. I, after all, am a gay man. Um, what? You have a personality? Why? Uh, oh, good times, good times. I did talk
That's why
about.
the homophobes hate you. You don't have to have a personality. You just get to say you're gay.
It's true. It's my entire personality at this
Us
point.
straights got to work at this shit.
Well, clearly you're not doing a very good job at it because people are still asking why are men. Um,
That is a
but
valid question.
I said that the other day at one of my jobs and said, why are men? And my coworker goes, why are men what? I'm like, no, why are men? Why are men what? Why are men, you man? Um, yeah, so
I was binging some true crime today. Call Me Chris is this wonderful woman who was on TikTok for a long time now. She has her own YouTube channel and she does true crime stuff on there. And
oh,
I was watching her documentaries, and she did this documentary about this lovely family, this husband and wife who just had their first baby, and they're so happy, and they decide to get an au pair. And the minute I heard that, I was like, oh shit, that
uh-huh.
wife's dead
Is this
for
is this
sure.
the yeah, is this the guy who just was recently convicted and his au pair was convicted from Brazil?
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
that's the case. Yeah, but like the second I heard like they had it, they were having a live-in au pair. I'm like, that's where this is
Hmm.
going.
Yep.
They they like they like invited some guy over through a fetish
Yeah. Oh
website
yeah.
using his
Yeah. Yeah.
wife's
Yep.
phone and computer, and made it seem like she wanted to be raped as part of like a
Hmm.
consensual sexual assault, and then they come busting in with guns and kill the guy and then kill the wife.
Hmm.
Gross, disgusting. But
Yeah.
like again, if you enjoy true crime, it's hard to maintain a good opinion of men
Hmm.
because typically 90% of the time the man did it.
Oh yeah. I think I saw that or listened to that on Dateline last week.
Yeah.
Yeah, they I listened to the Dateline podcast because I don't really sit down and watch TV all that much,
Mm.
but I listened to the Dateline podcast and they were going over that. I'm just like, God, just you know what? Just leave your wife. Leave your wife. It's so much easier.
I heard one woman say on a true crime podcast not long ago. She said, "Not all men, but always
But
men."
always men. Yep. I listen to My Favorite Murder a lot.
Hmm.
And I can we commit to not being a totally video podcast someday because I'm ugly and everybody seems to be going to video podcasts now. Thanks, Joe Rogan. My favorite murder is on Netflix now.
Really? Had no idea.
Uh-huh. And I mean, I look, I know that, we're not a big podcast. We have our core listeners, whatever. We're not gonna get a Netflix deal, but I don't want one because I'm fucking ugly. I have a face for radio or internet radio or whatever. Um, so yeah, let's commit to not doing that unless they really roll up the money truck, but they won't.
If once our Patreon hits $5,000 a month, we'll go video.
Okay, sure, yeah. So if you guys want to see how pretty I am,
If you'd like this to be a video podcast, the stretch goal on Patreon is $5,000. Get to
yep,
it.
yep. Yeah, and it doesn't need to be like, 1,000 $5 listeners. It can be one $5,000 listener.
That's fine.
Um,
However, it gets to $5,000 per month.
oh, all right. Well, I'm gonna go watch Party Monster now, so I don't have to shoehorn it in next Monday night. Um,
All
I
right.
spoiler alert, I love that movie, so it's not going to be hard. So
I love Macaulay Culkin. He's amazing. So
yeah. So all right.
thanks,
Take
Jeff.
care.